Okay, so I just got my fifth ability slot, and I figured I'd go over what buildings I thought were most important to getting this as fast as you can. I mean, not as fast as you can is. I actually put it on the back burner. I really didn't rush towards the fifth ability slot because my build really didn't need it. This is just something extra. It's nice to have. So first off, I suggest you not building or making a build that relies on the fifth slot. Just think of it as something extra, because if you go straight for it, it's probably going to take a while for you to farm up the gold and the affinity first of all, and your productivity is going to be really low, so it's going to take even longer for you to finish that. But first off, we'll go really fast. I'm sure everyone knows how the building system works. If not, in order to build up your base, you have to start projects. In order to complete those projects, you need a certain amount of gold and affinity. And once you start the project, it takes a certain amount of productivity to finish. So in order to get productivity, you can either do maps, you can do the bounty board, or you can do expeditions. The treasure maps and the bounty board are faster. They don't give you as much productivity. The expeditions are the longest ones, but they give the most productivity in the end. And the productivity when you're doing the expedition depends on the level. So if I go all the way to 94, it's times 4 productivity. And if you roll more modifiers, the maximum modifiers increases the productivity as well. And I believe the more monsters you kill and champions you kill in the dungeon, that affects the productivity at the end. But at this high level, I can get like 1500 productivity per expedition run, and it probably takes me about 20 to 25 minutes to do that. So there's that. So that's the best way to get the most productivity. So besides that, now we're going to go into the buildings that I feel like you should pick up as soon as possible. Now, you don't really need all these to start off, but what I do suggest is there's going to be some starting buildings that you can do. Like I think it's like the committee. There's 3 tiers of the committee and another like a training facility, I believe. Go ahead and get the training facility and the committee done as soon as possible. I'm not sure what level of committee you need to get the energy insulator in the siphon chamber. I believe it's 1. So I do suggest either whatever tier of the committee you need to build the energy insulator and the siphon chamber, I say do that. So once you're done with that, go ahead and build these 2. I feel like these are some of the most important buildings that you can get because they convert your affinity into gold and your gold into affinity. And when I was farming up for productivity and things like that, just in general, I was just spam running expeditions, and you can see how expeditions can start building up a lot of gold because you're doing all these modifiers and things like that. So I suggest getting the siphon chamber first, because in order to get your affinity, of course, you just pick up every single interact you have, and every interact is 100 affinity. And starting off, those were stacking way more. I was finding myself having excess of affinity and not enough gold to run expeditions and things like that. So this is the siphon chamber is good to have, so you can convert however amount of affinity into gold. Like right now, I don't have enough affinity, so I can't really convert. But if I needed to and I needed affinity, I can go to the energy insulator since I have an excess amount of gold and convert 10,000 gold.
Begin calibrating it whenever you're ready.
100,000 gold, excuse me, into affinity. So with 100,000 gold for 10,000 primordial affinity, so I'll have a good amount of each. So these 2 are really important to have, especially when you're starting off, so you can convert affinity into gold. And
you have returned. Do you require our
I really don't like how the NPC talks every time you click on one of these, but it is what it is. Since, well, in my experience, you're going to be having a lot of excess affinity, so you can convert the affinity into gold. And if you go back to the Stormfall Palace, you can get these productivity upgrades in order to boost your productivity even more. So right now, because I have 6 of these productivity upgrades, it's giving me a 95 productivity bonus, and my productivity is overall 185. So this is pretty much half, a little bit more than half of my productivity due to these, and it costs a lot of gold. So having this is going to be really important, having the siphon chamber. So I say
Go ahead, my lord. We anxiously await your instruction.
go to the Stormfall Palace, complete whatever committee you need to, in order to build the energy insulator and the siphon chamber. Maybe the siphon chamber first, so you can go ahead and convert your affinity to gold, so you can spam run expeditions, and the affinity will come by itself, because once you're spamming these expeditions, you're going to get all these interacts. So you're always going to be gaining a bunch of affinity. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, you can build these other buildings like the Dark Market. Once you complete the committee level 3, you're gonna have access to everything else.
My contacts are waiting for your word.
Like Dark Market gives 20 affinity, Transmutation Forge gives 20 affinity. So productivity will come, but when you're starting off, I feel like the main things you should get before you go into your 5th ability slot is the energy insulator and the siphon chamber, so you can convert your currency and spam run either expeditions or keep running projects and things like that. And really quick, I don't know if I already mentioned this, but it doesn't matter how many projects you have going. Once you complete an expedition, let's say if I got 1276 for that expedition, it's not going to be split. Your productivity is not going to be split into 3. You're going to have each of these gain 1276. So that's something good to know. But I know this wasn't like a end all be all guide to your base and things like that. This is just what I did and what I found was most important in the process of not only building your base but getting your 5th ability slot. So hopefully this helped. I know I was kind of all over the place, but let me know what you think. Do you have a better way of building your base and things like that? I currently have 185 productivity, and running expeditions gives me like 1500 productivity each. So I'm getting these projects done a lot faster, and I'm not having any problems with affinity or gold because I can just convert them whenever I wanted. But let me know what you think. Hopefully you guys are having fun with the game, and I'll see you in the next video.